I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
Smacking dudes with his 18-inch meat stick.
I'm going to go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's going to happen on Saturday.
And we're back once again. This is the MMA Analysis podcast. I know that some of our listeners have been a little upset with our late releases, but we're doing it again. You're gonna be listening to this on a Friday, heading into a Saturday card, but you're getting a show. So you're getting the usual suspects. Maybe Bradley will be here later. You just never know with him.
He's a creeper. He likes to drop in unannounced.
But I know New Sean's excited. It's the it's a big winter Olympiad, and it's got all those sports that Canada's good at because no one else can play them.
Yeah, except
New
hockey
Sean.
Because the fucking NHL players aren't going this year, which is brutal.
You got curling.
Yeah, we do. I definitely. I find it funny. So on Twitter,
How much curling have you watched already? Don't lie.
It was already on It was on today. I came and watched the mixed doubles. Fucking the Canadians beat the Chinese.
There's a mixed one.
Yeah, it's a new sport. I don't even know what the fuck. I just bet Canada win. That's kind of what I do. It's got weird rules. There's only 2 people instead of like 4 per team. It's 1 man, 1 women. I don't know. It's weird. But, of course, like the degenerate I am, I bet Canada to win gold in it, as well as fucking men's curling and women's curling.
Now, what, Steve?
You cutting out, Jay. What'd you say now?
Uh-oh.
I say, Wes, do you have any idea what the fuck New Sean's talking about?
Sadly, yeah. I actually do. I've watched a lot of curling in my life.
Oh shit! Look at this, Kentucky Swordsman throwing some rocks.
I enjoy the Olympics. I think most of us, maybe besides Canadians, like the Summer Olympics a little more. To me, it's better for betting too because I love track and field and swimming. So. I kind of know a little bit more about that, but I really enjoy the Winter Olympics, man. I've watched some curling in my day. I enjoy all that fucking that downhill skiing and shit, man.
Don't forget the ice dancing, Wesley. You like that as well?
No, that's about where you lost me. I will watch a little bit of the last programs of the figure skating shit. I mean, you got to go just cheer your country a little bit, but nah, you can. I pass on that ice dancing. It's good stuff, man. The Olympics good. You talk about something that nobody's said a word about though. I think this might be like the lowest amount of buzz I've ever seen for an Olympics, winter or summer.
I blame North Korea.
It's got to be that. It's got to have a little something to do with it, man. And even they still have the whole Korean thing too. Still kind of weird because they got all these articles out now too about all the dogs and stuff that are eaten still over and shit. Like they breed like almost 3 million dogs a year in South Korea just for consumption. So that's all that shit still makes it a little weird to people over here, I think. So yeah, but still with Twitter and social media and stuff, the amount of buzz for this Olympics is, I just don't think like America has any like huge stars and stuff. Sean's right too. The NHL not going over there this year. You're taking away a lot of, American hockey players and stuff that have played and stuff. So
it's also tough when it's over in Asia because of the time difference, right?
Oh, yeah. It's awful.
Yep.
I mean, that just kind of ruins prime time. You're going to be watching stuff. A lot of times it's tape delayed. It's not live. You don't know what the hell's live and what's not. So I think that definitely affects the buzz around it.
The Olympics.
Sean, are you going to give any bets out, New Sean? The best bet you want to share?
I put out a bunch in the chat room. I don't know.
Let's keep the best bet.
You got any minus 270s? Anything like that?
Eesh, that's a little low. I usually like to go a little more chalky than that when I put out my bets.
I've seen some chalky picks. No unit
Chalky fight picks.
no unit sizes, no nothing, just a straight 270.
Lay the wood.
Lay the wood. For bets, I don't know. Play Sean White. Play Sean White.
Yeah, Sean White half pipe.
I got him plus 230. I got
You
some.
think
plus
15 currently. Not
you
terrible.
think old man Tomato can beat that Asian kid?
Yep.
I don't know, man. That Asian kid's done stuff that Sean White's never done in his career.
It's
So,
true. It's
we're
true.
gonna-
But
we're
I
gonna
mean, Sean White's going to be hungry after the last Olympics, and this is
he
going to
should
be his
be.
last Olympics, so he's going to be going for it.
He's been I watched a little thing on him. He's pretty much gone into a physical training regimen and stuff this past year that he said he'd never done in his life. So
So he's going like Carrot Top now?
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But that Asian kid, I believe it is, he's really good, man. He did that. He's done the tricks that Sean White literally broke his back on and stuff a couple years ago. So if Sean White can't pull off that stuff, he's not going to win this year. But we'll see, man. The flying Carrot Top out there, dude, looks like he's jacked up on that John Jones tainted cocaine.
Talking about that Davison Figueiredo stuff.
The fuck's going on with him?
What, Davison Figueiredo?
Yeah, that stuff. The new Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm moving on to last week's fight card.
There we
like
go.
that segue.
The transition. I'm so slow that I didn't
I
get
mean,
it.
Wes, it is Brazil. I mean, you know, I know Brazil pretty well, and they definitely like to look good without having to work to look good. If you know what I mean?
Those mountain yams down there, dude. They like glow in the ground. They got a glow to them. They pull them right out of the side of the mountain and eat those fuckers. Brazilian mountain yams. Nah, dude, Figueiredo. I mean, Andrade. Jesus Christ,
Still
dude.
the Andrade, yeah. The
holy
magma was
fuck.
flowing in Brazil last weekend. That's for sure.
Michael Panzeris' legs were so goddamn big he couldn't even cut down to be a fucking welterweight. You know,
He makes Ricky Williams' legs look like John Jones. Okay.
Oh man, it's good to see some new Mr. Magmas coming out of Brazil. Our old one, I think, has maybe flamed out, and we need some new blood. And there's definitely some magma flowing.
Yeah, there has been.
It
there
showed,
was also some shoddy,
murder?
some you know, officials. I don't want to say which kind of officials, but let's just say officials as a whole.
Let
Some
them be
shoddy
warriors,
work
Jay.
going here.
Let them be warriors.
Let there be blood.
Pretty much. If
I
they
mean,
die,
there will
then-
be blood.
If she dies,
I'm
she
not even
dies.
sure- I'm not even sure where we should start, but man, I guess we have to. I mean, I haven't seen this type of strike differential since when Ben Askren fought Andrei Koreshkov, and now it's 231-1 or whatever it was. I mean, Mario Yamasaki's just too busy heart with his hands to step in and stop a fight. It was not a good look. And then there's been a lot of talk with Shevchenko's victory about the concept of throwing in the towel. I'll start with Wes. I don't know if you made an opinion on this yet, but I'm sure you got one in your mind. What do you think about that concept for MMA? About folks being able to throw, kind of stop the fight from the outside, as opposed to, you know, really the referee or the doctor being the only ones who could stop a bout.
Well, you know, first thing, we probably should have just took Yamasaki out at Foxwoods a couple years ago and saved all these people some trouble, right? You know, I mean, it's been a thing in boxing forever, and it rightfully so. I mean, sometimes you just get guys like Yamasaki that are just horrible at their fucking job. And most cornermen are usually like, you become close with the fighters you train. Some of them are still idiots. Some of them, they just have that thing to where, you know, stopping a fight for their fighter is looked down upon, but I think that's starting to go away a little more now. But somebody tweeted out a video with Trevor Whitman with that Nate fight not too long ago, and Nate in the corner just was saying, I don't have nothing left and stuff, and Whitman was like, that's it, it's over. He's completely stopped the fight. Like that's the kind of guy you want in your corner, in my opinion.
That's also an experienced fighter that knows when he's done too, because I don't think there's many fighters that will be as honest as Marquardt was in that fight with his cornerman.
Very, very experienced cornerman too. Whitman's been around a long, long time. I'm sure he's looked in the face of fighters that were completely done too, and kind of knows there's a lot of new fighters from camps all over. Like some of these cornermen might have never cornered a fight in their entire life at this level, So it's definitely a part of it. But I mean, besides the corner, I mean, Mario Yamasaki, that's some of the worst I've ever seen, man. Like, girl was she tapped and he just ignored it. It was bad, dude. And then just his interview, his comments on it show you that he should never be allowed to ref another fight, period, ever. Him saying, I'll let her be a warrior. Your job isn't to let her. That's the opposite of your job. You know what I'm saying? That is the complete, total opposite of a ref's job. You don't let a fighter be a warrior and just get the shit beat out of him. You stop that fight, So he should really never be allowed to ref another fight. I know Dana posted something saying he's going to do everything he can to make sure.
What? Which, really?
Well, I mean, he's got pool. He's got pool in certain places. I'm sure he could just tell a commission, don't give that guy a job.
Yeah, or else
which
we're not
could
come fight wherever.
Which that could lead to lawsuits. I could imagine if that comes out.
Exactly.
Yamasaki hears about that, but I'm sure there's backroom things that Dana can say. Don't put that guy on one of my shows. They could give him other assignments on other promotions, but. It's bad, man. I don't see how anybody could want that. I don't think any fighter would want that dude. And you can have always got some fighters say, there was one that tweeted out saying, that's what I want in my fight. I want it let go. Let me go out on my shield. That's not the point of this, though. You know what I'm saying? That's not what Yamasaki is hired for. He's not hired to let you go out on your shield. There's a fine line between that, giving a fighter a chance to recover and stuff. That situation there was no point in that beatdown
to where she was near intelligently defending herself, which is what you're supposed to be doing.
Like no fine line and nowhere close to when it started was she going to recover from that shit. And then just the performance like that's one of the biggest beatdowns I've ever seen. And I mean, I've watched thousands of fights. That is one of the biggest beatdowns. It was brutal. I mean, I was watching that fight, even saying to myself, Jesus, this is brutal. They need to stop this. And I don't say that, during a lot of fights. It was really bad.
I thought I was in pretty good position, with when you got the same bet as the ref with the over 2.5. I thought I was going to cruise to this to cash in that bet, but Kashiwaya was just not even in the fucking area code when it comes to Shevchenko. That was just a brutal beatdown. I will take that loss and be happy with it. I got to see a girl almost murdered on live TV, so I guess that is worth the $100 that I put on it.
What's crazy is she's gonna do that to the girl with the belt. Yeah. Like that might even be a worse matchup. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's bad.
Jesus.
As for the whole throwing in the towel thing, I think UFC is still in the old ages when it comes to stuff like this. I think it kind of reminds me of what I know is hockey. Hockey back 10, 15 years ago, where there was no concussion stuff going on. Some dude just gets absolutely annihilated with his head down. He doesn't go to the quiet room or anything like that. He sits on the bench, feels okay, and they send him right out there on the next shift, and he's a warrior for not staying down and all this stuff. I think that's just kind of old thinking. The the fighters and their corners need to be a little more intelligent, and just when your fighters cannot win, I mean, there's always a small chance, but it's not worth it. And I mean, it also comes down to the way money is, right? With there being win bonuses and stuff like that, the cost, it's kind of worth it for them to get the shit beaten out of them on the off chance that they could land something and double up the money. And with how low paying it is, that's another issue. I think when you see with boxing, a lot of times it's more, especially the higher end boxers, their corners will be really honest. They're like, okay, you got to show me something this round or I'm ending it. But those guys are paid well, and they're guaranteed a lot of money. And I mean, it is what it is. If they're not intelligently defending themselves, their corners will stop it. And then, yeah, you got Yamasaki, who's an absolute fucking idiot, and will just let a chick just get absolutely beat on with no real resistance at all. It's just terrible. So I think there's a lot of blame to go around, but Yamasaki definitely should not be reffing any high-end MMA. I mean, even low-end MMA, that's even worse, because then there are mismatches when you got unknown fighters against each other. That's scary in itself.
Yeah, that's another point. Like the promotion should be at fault with this too.
Like, are you serious? Like, Shevchenko couldn't fight another chick that was dropping from 135 to 125 that's kind of shown something. They're going to give her who she just went to a 5-round decision with the bantamweight champion, and she drops in and fights a newcomer that
and arguably won that fight.
Yeah, and it's what's even scarier is anybody, like even us, to even do a little tape to make a bet or something, could look at the tape of that girl and be like, there's no way she belongs in the same cage with Shevchenko. You can tell these matchmakers literally aren't watching a single minute of tape
or
of some of these fighters.
We're going to get her an absolute fucking highlight reel, like Jay said last week. They set her up to absolutely maul this chick, get her some hype so that she can get get some momentum going into the title fight, which she's going to smash in as well. And then you got a decent following for a champion that can actually finish, and she's a woman, right? So that's definitely
blonde,
what they're
and blonde, and there's reasons here.
Never banked on the Yamasaki to not get somebody murdered in a cage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It all really comes down to Yamasaki. It's his job. He is paid to do that. You know, you can put a little blame to the corner, maybe to the matchmaker a little bit, but 99% of that fault lies on Yamasaki, period. Especially when a girl is tapping in front of you and you're just like,
yeah, she's
checking out
twice.
the crowd.
That's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
He's too busy trying to look cool for the camera.
To put that heart up with his hand.
Yeah, throw the heart up, baby.
You know who he's giving? Oh yeah, got to have a kid, right? Got to be for a kid. I know he's not doing that for some chick, right?
I don't give a shit.
He could be.
Who the fuck you're doing?
I mean, it could just be for his family. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, because he's in some, bad situation. I don't know. It's just stupid. On the lighter side, Tim Johnson did big dick things and won that money.
Yes, he did.
Well, why was he not our consensus?
I don't know.
I think we had a better one.
I think we had a better one that was going to win, but it didn't.
We know the guy.
Valid point.
We know the guy that our consensus was showing up to fight wasn't all there because the dude couldn't even make weight. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. The crazy thing about that Tim Johnson fight, did you know that he was like plus 400 going into the third round?
No.
Yes, he was. He was. It scared the shit out of me. I was like, are you kidding me? He's plus 400. And I didn't refresh it twice, so I don't know if the line was flipped. I don't know if anybody bet him. I mean, I saw some other people bet him, and it wasn't refunded. But yeah, he was plus 400. So I don't know if they just thought that Brazil was going to get edge out a couple of those rounds, and they give the hometown fighter a win. But man,
Brazil was on like a 6 or 7 fight win streak going into that.
That'll definitely affect it. But yeah, Timmy Big Dick, by decision, plus 415, straight
Doing
up
big
like
dick things.
plus
Yeah, I had that
180.
too.
Some big dick things. Love it.
And, what was he the only? Or no, Shevchenko beat old girl. I was getting ready to say he might have been the only dude to beat a Brazilian, but Shevchenko beat old girl.
Him and Shevchenko were the only non-Brazilians that won.
Yep.
I mean, I guess we call that Machida win a win.
Yeah. Well,
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a real tough one.
Max bet season went to shit on that one.
What's even tougher is the run of 5-round main events that have like under 2.5 at -300 that are going the distance. That's the really hurtful shit. Another one that I've bet to go inside the distance, a 5-round main event that doesn't.
I mean, I guess we kind of should have saw this coming a bit. I mean, I agree. I thought Anders was going to smash him in the first, or maybe Machida was going to catch him a little later on. But this seemed like vintage Machida, where he was doing a lot of moving, a lot of running, and not much was happening. That's where we were throwing it back to 2015 Machida, 2014 Machida, where he'd have these kind of boring fights where not much would happen. That's kind of what happened.
Yep.
49-46 Machida is fucking.
Although I think he got absolutely smashed in the middle 3 rounds. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, especially under they was using the new rules down there, which means damage means everything now. He got smashed in rounds 2, 3, and 4. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I thought he lost the 5th too, but I'll hear an argument.
Closer.
You know. That's a horrible decision.
How did you score, Jay? You didn't bet Anders, right? Is Jay still there?
I think his car music turned on.
Oh no. But yeah, like I gave Anders at least the 3 middle rounds. I mean, every time he was hitting Machida, he was
flying across the
damage.
cage.
He was flying across the cage. I mean, some of it might have been slips, but he was doing some pretty good damage. I mean, it's frustrating as someone who bet Anders that he wasn't throwing more. I know you got to be weary of Machida's counter striking and stuff like that, but man, he every time he touched him, it seemed like it was doing something. So I was kind of bummed that he didn't throw more.
He's got to learn to cut off the cage too. Somebody's got to teach him that.
It's not like it's the first person that's been kind of mesmerized by Machida.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some pretty veteran fighters that the same thing happened with them. They couldn't figure him out and they couldn't cut him off, and it just kind of became what it was.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the far better guy whenever Anders got close, got a hold of him. I mean, it was just bad. I mean, I don't know, dude. That's just that's one that it irks me, man, because I think that's just a really bad card. And
yeah, I mean, I bet Anders. I hedged a bit with Machida by TKO, so that lost as well. So it was all kinds of losing, but. I don't know. Maybe people are dumb enough to think that Machida is back. I know there was lots of tweets. Oh, Machida's back and all this stuff. So maybe we'll get a little cheaper number on whoever fights him next, because I'm still on the fade Machida train. And I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I still think Anders is good. I mean, maybe he'll get undervalued next because he didn't do much in this fight, but he's still something.
Anders cuts off the cage with any kind of frequency in that fight. He catches Machida. You could see how much Machida lost it just when he did get like that closeness and kind of throw an attack. Man, it's just explosion is nowhere near just that close space explosion.
Yeah,
it's gone.
The reactions are just not there. The timing,
it's completely
reaction,
gone.
The speed, it's definitely degraded pretty heavily.
Yep. Indeed.
Is Jay back? I
think.
Am
I
he's back? There we go.
There he is. What'd you think, Jay? How did you?
Yeah, because you didn't bet Anders, so how did you score?
No, I thought it was a pretty clear the the outside rounds were for Machida and the 3 inside rounds were for Anders. I mean,
I could see that, absolutely.
I thought it was a pretty clear 48-47. I mean, I thought it was 48-47, but like when the final bell rang, I just had this feeling like they're going to give this to Machida.
Yeah, I was an idiot.
It wasn't a surprise.
With I think Anders was minus 1,000 or something entering the 5th round. I should have laid off Machida just because of the feel that this fight had. It just felt like the rounds were too close and we were in Brazil and whatever. So I definitely should have hedged off a bunch of.
Well, considering how shoddy the other judging was, which we should touch on briefly.
Yeah. So
Sergio Moraes won a split decision over Tim Means, despite being outstruck, I think 130 to like 85 in the bout. And then what was the other really shoddy decision? There was another.
Let's see.
I thought there was another one.
I think that was the Cheetah one where the kind of
ones, right? There's that one for sure. Yeah.
See, I bet Moraes at the plus money, and I even scored the fight for Means. But I think the second and third, or the first and second, or something, they were a couple close rounds. But then you see the punch stats and stuff, and Means should have got that. What's funny is the 2 Brazilian judges, or the Brazilian judge scored it for Means, gave him 2 rounds. But Moraes won on the cards. It was the 2 American judges, or one was American, one wasn't Brazilian. Means
I think we should clarify that. When we say like when Canadians get some hometown decisions and stuff like that, the judge doesn't have to be Canadian, and same with Brazil.
No.
It's mostly just people reacting to the hometown fighters and swaying the judges that way, regardless of where the judges are from. When a hometown guy lands a punch, you're going to cheer. When the other guy lands something, you don't cheer, and then they're like, oh, maybe he didn't land that. Nobody really kind of cheered or anything like that.
Tony Weeks has probably gotten paid 6 figures, probably 7 figures in his life for being a completely terrible judge.
That guy's an absolute fucking plug.
He's terrible.
Tony Weeks he's been doing that shit for no bullshit 20 years. Like Tony Weeks has been around for over 20 years with consistently bad scorecards for 20 fucking years.
You're in the wrong game to be that much of a shitty fucking person at your job and still get paid. We are in the wrong business.
I said that Saturday night, man. I was like, dude, I could pick 20 guys on Twitter that we all talk to that could judge fights like 10 times better than these judges. Easily.
Like a random Joe off the street. Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters at all. Compared to what Tony Weeks does, I mean, he's terrible. Adelaide Bird. I mean, there's so many of them. It's amazing to me.
If Bird gets to fucking judge that fucking Canelo Triple G fight after what she did, there's no hope for boxing or
what are they even
MMA
doing?
Fighting.
Well, like all the athletic commission though, like the Las Vegas, they stand by her. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's insane. Like they put her on some like lower level cards. That was her punishment. A few lower level cards. Now she's pretty much back.
Now she's back to where she is.
She gets paid. And she gets paid for them. Of course. So who are they kidding?
Yeah. So, I mean, if she gets that fucking fight, I mean, there's just nothing.
What's messed up is like, shouldn't you be better at your job after all those fights? Like that, like somebody like her, like she's seen more fights than most people walking this earth. Shouldn't you be getting better? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like anybody that studies something or does anything should get better at it over time. These fuckers get worse.
Yeah, it's not really a thing where you need to like keep acquiring new skills. It's not. It's not a concept of like it's technology is driving whatever job you're in, and there's like new elements, new software, new concepts, new language. No.
Know what to look for, though. You can know what to look for more. You know what I'm saying? But shouldn't that have improved on these fucking idiots over 20 years? You know what I'm saying? Knowing what to look for in a fight that causes the damage. You know what I'm saying? That just landing more punches. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it.
No one does. No one does. That's the fucking problem.
It doesn't look like anybody ever will.
One other fight I wanted to touch on, and then we'll leave it. How fun was Thiago Santos and Anthony Smith?
Jesus, that was a fucking war. I mean, it was
Santos.
fairly one-sided, but Jesus.
It's awesome.
Just
Santos, one of the funnest guys in the sport, like hands down. That guy's awesome, dude.
Yeah, especially when matched up with a guy that's not going to take him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who didn't they just sign him back up? Don't he?
They should.
He's running
He's
it right
Dave
back.
Ranch. That's going to be a test.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Sorry.
What was that?
Sorry, Bob. Your
When
voice.
is that?
That is on April 21st in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Your neck of the woods, Jay.
No, June 21st.
No, April 21st.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that Atlantic City.
I'm gonna have to make it. I'm gonna have to make my way down to to Boardwalk Hall.
You can watch little Madoff fight. He's gonna fight Ulka Sasaki. And you can watch the dirty mustached Patrick Cummins fight Corey Anderson. That definitely won't be a terrible fight at all.
Looking at this right now. Is there a main event? It doesn't look like it.
Not yet.
They
But
can't do Brand for Santa.
Uriah Hall's going to be
they could do Uriah Hall. Oh God, that could be
a
great.
little drunk.
Ooh, Aljamain Sterling and Brett Johnson.
Can you believe that shit?
can't
Uriah Hall
believe that.
literally says he has a seizure and a fucking
A minor
mini
heart
stroke.
attack or a stroke or whatever.
I think
And then
And
they
they
put
call him a little drunk. Holy
yeah.
shit.
Oh, it's a Saturday card. I could make my way down.
Dana literally wants to kill that man. He
Yep.
pretty much put a
Seems
death
like it.
warrant on.
I mean, am I really gonna? Yeah, I mean, the Habib. Yeah, I don't know. I like going to like little like scrub cards. To me, they're more fun. Like I like to watch
seats too for cheaper.
Yeah, I like to watch. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Plus
one of
big
the
cards, I like to be in front of my TV. I don't like to miss anything, and you know what I mean.
one of my favorite live cards I've ever been to was the Foxwoods card.
That was
Just-
fun.
Just the
half-
whole setup.
It was a half venue, right? Because there was only
Yeah.
seats outside.
Yeah, it's because it was in that like theater type thing, dude.
Yeah. Like, that
Hell,
was
then
fun
you
stuff.
walk right out, you see Reem stumbling around and get to go shoot dice, like all in one night. Like you couldn't beat that. I had.
with what's his name? Who the hell was that?
What'd you say?
Texas wrestler guy. Who the fuck am I thinking of? He lost to Mirsad Bektic. He lost to who else did he lose to? He also lost.
Are you talking about Chase Kelly? Or not?
Yes.
Chase Kelly? Yeah.
Yes. Chase. What the
Or
hell
not
is his
Chase.
name?
Chase Kelly.
Chaz.
Kelly.
Chaz.
Chaz
Yeah.
Kelly. Yes. I just remember him showing up at the roulette table. 100 on this? Okay. Oh, I won? Oh, okay. See you guys later. I'm like, okay.
Me and Josh had fucking Lytle walk up to the dice table and start throwing fucking dice.
Wait.
Yeah,
who?
it was Chris Lytle. Yeah.
Wow.
Then we saw fucking, it was talking about Yamasaki was eating fucking
Dana.
rice in the same restaurant. Then we saw, that's the night we saw,
Frank Beer.
we saw Meathead come out of
Oh.
the damn club and was like, oh shit, bet Meathead. And then he gets knocked out by Derek Lewis way back when Lewis first started with like a forearm or some shit. Just like ran face first into his forearm. We're over there betting on fucking Meathead and shit. Yeah, that was a good time. That was one of my favorite cards I've been to.
Then we saw Dana White, and he did his, hey, boys. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good shit.
Yeah, that was fun.
You know where he was heading. $25,000 blackjack table.
Yeah, room for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't pay
And-
John Dodson his fucking show money, but can go buy $80,000 worth of samurai swords. Fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
Man, that Atlantic City card might be better than the card that we're going to be talking about in a couple minutes.
Oh, come on now, Jay. It's not
I'm going to the
Let's get
Austin.
MMA
I'm going to
yet.
the Austin card next week, dude. You talking about a fucking low level card?
I might have to make my way down to Atlantic City. I haven't been down there in a while.
How far is that from you?
About 2-hour drive.
Oh, that's mellow.
Yeah, that's not terrible. Saturday card.
Yep.
I might be more tempted to go there than Brooklyn, which is kind of scary. Well, I don't know if I can say no to seeing a Habib title fight though. That's
a tough one.
But I don't want to do a Dougie and then book it in advance. And
Oh, what are you saying, Jay? You saying he could still pull out?
Look, when the money's on the line.
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, we know.
As Dana White says, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, moving up. We're going to be covering the UFC 221 pay-per-view card.
Yeesh. We use that term loosely.
Yeah, you can.
I know we say yeesh, but I do think it's going to be really entertaining. I think the fight card, while it's short on names, I think it's going to be high on fun value, and I'm okay with that.
Yep.
With that said, I'm not sure it starts with this first fight on the card. Daichi Abe versus Luke, not Ryan, R.I.P. Jimmy.
Oh, shout out to the ghost.
Brad, put that in the book.
The ghost.
Brad, that one goes in the book. That was pretty good.
The ghost. Oh, that is good. I guess we'll start with Wes. Do you care at all about this fight? As I don't.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I haven't even really looked at this one too much. I know the lesser Luke. He had a little bit of hype, man, but that was a pretty bad loss last time out, and Abe hasn't looked too bad. I guess he did put it on the limb, which that dude gets it put on him quite regularly. But yeah, man, the line just it seems kind of funny. I don't know if he should be favored that much here, but Jimu might be a pick for me in Talent Master. But yeah, there's no way I can touch this fight with any real money.
Nushan, do you remember when Hyung-Hyu Lim main evented a fight card
Against Savadine? That was a fucking war. Was that the first UFC Fight Pass card?
Ooh.
Yeah, wasn't it? Is that the first China card?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was the first pure Fight Pass card.
It's plausible.
Right.
I don't think it wasn't the first fight on Fight Pass, but it might have been the first fight card.
Because it was like the very start of the year. It was January 4th, 2014, and I'm pretty sure that was right around when Fight Pass kind of got rolled out, and this was like the first Fight Pass card because it was out in Korea, right?
Yeah, Lim had some hype.
It was in Singapore, I think.
Oh, Singapore, that's what it was, right? Yeah,
they had to deal with the Sands.
Yeah,
I think.
I do remember that. I remember thinking Hyung-Hyu Lim might have something, and now he's lost 4 of 5.
I want to look at that fight card now that we're talking about it.
I mean, I guess he hasn't lost to anybody terrible until he lost to Abe.
That was 2014?
Yeah, man. January 2000. That was 4 years ago.
On the Marina Bay Sands. So what else we got
Hyung-Hyu Lim's lost to Mike Perry, Neil Magny, Tarek Safadine, and Daichi Abe. One of those is not really like the
Did you guys look at these two? Look at this fight card.
Kawajiri was the co-main, wasn't it?
So I think there's 12 names on the undercard, Fight Pass undercard. I think 3 of them are still in the UFC. I think Leandro Issa not in the UFC.
No.
Russell Doan, are you sure?
Yeah. Like he's not.
Russell Doan might be.
Doan is. Yeah.
John De Los Reyes, don't think he's in the UFC. Dustin Kimura, don't think he's in the UFC. Bang
is in jail.
Tysomov's on the undercard. Royston Wee beat something called Dave Galera.
Oh, that's good.
30-26. Kakuno defeated Quinn Mulhern.
Oh, the Mulhern.
And then the Fight Pass main event, future UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway beats that giant Will Chope by knockout, which was a pretty crazy fight.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a whole bunch of nothing, and then you have like 2 excellent fighters on the undercard. I mean, that is classic UFC style.
Yeah, that is, wow, 4 years ago. Time flies when you're having fun.
Kunimoto, Kawajiri, And that a weird looking card, but whatever.
That's a Fight
Anyway.
Pass card.
Right down memory lane. Sorry. Back to your thoughts on Abe, if you care.
Abe's got some pretty sick abs from his shirt out picture, so I'll probably have to go with those washboard abs.
I mean, Jumo sucks. Let's be honest. I got him as a minus. Abe's a D. Abe's still undefeated, and has a lot more skill than Jumo does. That's just the reality of it. He should win this bout. He should.
The answer, he should.
But here we go. Back in another dude's country. We're doing this whole thing again, just like we were in Brazil last week. So I would definitely be a little weary of playing the non Ocean of this fight card. And if you start seeing them rile off a couple wins and then it gets a little suspect again with a judging decision, then you got to be a little careful. But I do think Abe wins, but there are better bets on this card. Next fight up, we have, oh boy, one of New Sean's favorites, Ishihara. Mr. Bitches versus, where are the bitches at? Against one of the guys I like, another guy from that super underrated season of Tough Latin America, Jose Quinones. Wes, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think we really underrated that show when we was watching it. Didn't we?
It was a slow burn. It was terrible to start, and now these guys have got some experience and are better.
They get up out of fucking Mexico and come up to the States and get some actual fucking wrestling and coaching and shit. Man, Ishihara, I don't know, man. I don't think the dude's that good, man. You're dropping just fights to Lobov and Maynard, and then he was in deep with died many points in that fight. His last one that he finally got a win, and man, Quinones is a tough dude, man. I just can't see how he doesn't muscle around Ishihara here at a lot of times in this fight. So I'm kind of leaning Quinones at this point. Not betting anything here either. It's just another weird fight to me. I could see Ishihara catching something here. It wouldn't shock me. But yeah, Quinones is going to be the pick. I think he's going to be a little bit too physical for Ishihara. Ishihara dude can't stop a takedown. He can't keep guys from getting him against the cage. So yeah, Quinones the pick for me.
New Sean.
Yeah, with Ishihara, sometimes it just doesn't matter who you're training with. You're just going to be terrible.
Terrible.
I mean, he's training at Alpha Male, but it doesn't really matter when it comes to his takedown defense. And yeah, it's never a good look when you're going tooth and nail with Rolando Dai, who fucking retired and then unretired right before this fight. So not a good look. Quinones, he definitely looks like Captain Morgan, so maybe that'll do something. I'm still kind of skeptical of these Mexican fighters, but I'll pick him to beat a terrible Ishihara.
I have Ishihara a D, Quinones a D+. I think this matchup really favors Quinones, who, I've been fairly impressed with in his recent bouts. He's certainly added a grappling game. I mean, not a great submission guy, but fairly smart on his takedown attempts. Really good motor. Can fight at a pretty decent pace throughout. And Ishihara, not a good motor. Too reliant on striking and poor takedown defense. I think this is just a matchup really well made for Quinones to get a W. And I think he will. He is flying. I think in general we have to be a little bit weary of this fight card. I mean, folks flying for North America are flying 20, 25, 30 hours, and it's just odd times, and it just makes it, you're kind of out of your like normal clock, and that that does generate its chance for odd results. So I'm definitely being a little more cautious with this fight card than if this say took place in New Orleans or I don't know, Sacramento or somewhere in North America. So I would definitely tend to be cautious and recommend others to be cautious. But this is about Quinones, again, should win. Just a lot of advantages. And tactically, he just game plans a whole lot better. Moving on up, next fight on the card, we have the return of Ross Pearson, really? Against Mizuto Hirota. Is this Pearson's last fight? Has that been announced, or am I making an assumption here?
I think you're making an assumption. I
don't think so.
I think he's lost 4 in a row, so he probably should retire if he loses this fight.
Yeah,
but I don't think anything official has been stated.
Oof.
Yeah, to this dude.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, do you think he turns it around and what's has to be a loser leaves town match for him, right?
I actually do, man. I think this is a pretty good fight for Pearson. Barring a couple things, I mean, he's got to keep Hirota off of him. That's for sure. He's got to use his boxing. I think he could win this fight. I mean, Pearson was in there with Hooker before getting knocked out. He held his own against Stevie Ray. He was in there with Masvidal. Even in his losses, I mean, he hasn't been horrible. He does look like the cage time is starting to get there, even at only 33, which is crazy to me. He's only 33, but I think this is a pretty good matchup. I mean, Hirota went to a draw in a really shitty fight against a shitty fighter we was just talking about in Ishihara. I mean, he had to go 3 with a completely washed up Cole Miller, and Volkanovski, who fights later on the card, just rode him around the ring for 3 rounds. So I can absolutely see a path here for Pearson, and I sprinkled a little bit on Pearson when the line went down to -140.
New Sean.
The memory of Hirota will always be Aoki snapping his arm and then giving him the finger. That was glorious. I remember staying up and watching that Dynamite card back in 2009. It was amazing. Just snaps the dude's arm and then just gives him the finger. Right? Aoki's the bomb, whether he loses or not. That shit is just amazing. As for this fight, I know Pearson, he did look good against Hooker, and then he got knocked out. I don't think Hirota is just going to absolutely flatline him, but Pearson can't have my money at this point in his career. I know he's lost 4 in a row. I don't know where his head's at. I mean, he's fighting in Australia, which I'm pretty sure he lives in Australia, even though he's English. It's kind of
he goes out with
he's had
the Australian ring girl.
Yeah, so I'll pick him to win. I think he's the much better fighter, but at this point, my money does not go on Ross Pearson.
See, I would. I'll just do the grades quickly. So I got Pearson a D+, Hirota a D. The thing with Pearson is, I'd be afraid if he was facing, an above average to good striker, or someone with like a really, really good wrestling game. Like Hirota's got like a decent grappling game, but he's zero threat on the feet to hurt someone, in my opinion. I don't think Pearson really has to be too worried about that. I don't think he's going to get finished in this bout. So I think that allows him to fight a little bit differently than he had to against even like a Stevie Ray or even Dan Hooker, who was really long for the weight class. Like Pearson's going to be the bigger fighter in this bout. I think Hirota is moving up, I think, from featherweight to lightweight for this bout, if I remember correctly. Because Ishihara is featherweight. So, yeah. So he's moving up. So Pearson, bigger fighter, better striker. It's definitely stronger. This sets up well for him to get a win. I think, he really should. And he's comfortable fighting in Australia. I remember he beat George Soteropoulos on that like weird tough season, Tough Smashes or Tough Nations, whichever one it was. And he got the W down there over him. So, like I said, I think this one sets up well for Pearson to get the win. I understand it's a little bit hard to trust with your money, but it's kind of dipping to the point where it's a playable range. So definitely one to consider for Saturday's card. One of the best bouts, of the entire fight card, maybe the second best bout on the entire fight card. Ben Nguyen taking on Jussier Formiga in what is, in my opinion, a top 10 flyweight clash. Wes, what are your thoughts here on a closely lined competitive bout?
Yeah, I think you're right. This is probably the second best fight on the on the card. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's completely buried down on the close to the prelims. Or just weird, man. Who knows with this promotion anymore? But man, I think Ben Nguyen is just a little bit overrated now. I like the kid. I think he's a really good fighter. He killed me against Tim Elliott. That cost me, but. Man, Tim Elliott is Tim Elliott. The dude's just fucking wild. He got caught. It's going to happen to him plenty of more times. That's just the fighter he is. Great win, though, for Nguyen. Decent win over Herrera. I'm not a huge Herrera fan either, but man, this on the feet, I don't think it's as close as some people are saying. And then, man, Juicy only gets beat by guys that are just legit wrestlers that can take him down and smash on him. I don't see Ben Nguyen being that guy. Like I said, I just think he's a little bit overrated at this point. So Juicy at minus 115. I was a little bit surprised by that line. I thought he'd be closer to minus 160 range. So I took a little shot on Juicy here. I think he can get a decision over Ben Nguyen.
New Sean.
I'm on the other side. I took
where
the
we go.
opener. I didn't take it big or anything. I just put 1 unit on Ben Nguyen at plus 125. I've bet Formiga a lot in his fights. He's a solid fighter, but I really think Ben Nguyen is good. I know he had that hiccup against Smoka. He got smashed and caught, but it just seems like he has a lot of tools, and I think he is a guy that's steadily improving. I mean, I know he's not crazy young or anything. He's 29, but I think he's going to edge Formiga on the feet. Obviously, as long as he doesn't get his back taken, I think he should be okay. That is always a scary thing when it comes to Formiga fights, but I think he's a guy that's gonna surprise some people, and especially against a good fighter in Formiga.
It's a close fight.
Yep.
I got both these guys. Actually, no, I got Formiga a B, and Ben Nguyen a B minus. I think it's fairly competitive, but I like Formiga's. He's been, just outside the top 3 or 4 in this division for seems like 5 years now. Just a level below, like Horiguchi or Benavidez or Cejudo. It's kind of in that next line with like a Ray Borg. Ben monster win, in my opinion. He's had some good wins, certainly. But that still bothers me, that hit against Louis Smoka. Maybe the Tim Elliott fight, kind of a weird bout, secured the submission pretty early. If that doesn't happen, maybe it plays out totally different and we think a lot differently of him. Formiga is not really a guy you're going to submit. He's never been submitted in his career, actually. And he's only lost to Borg and Cejudo, who, again, and Benavidez and Dodson, Ian McCall. Those are his 5 career losses.
Elites.
Yeah, so that's the way, I hate to kind of do that kind of numerics, but if Ben Nguyen can beat Formiga even at 32, that to me would show me that Ben Nguyen's ready to kind of make the next step and be, close to like top 5, but I'm just not convinced he's that guy. I think he's more like a 9th or 10th guy in this flyweight division. So expect competitive. Formiga, better grappler. Maybe not as much a powerful striker, but I think the grappling, could play the difference in this bout, and Formiga gets the W. Next fight I think is really interesting. between two guys who, one guy gets definitely a good amount of hype, even though he rarely fights, and the other guy has very little hype, but it may be not a really entertaining style, but it can be really effective. And Canada's next hope?
No.
Jeremy Kennedy?
No.
Versus Alex, let's shoot for the stars, Volkanovski. Wes, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I like Jeremy Kennedy. I don't know, man. He seems like another one that I've seen a little Twitter talk to where they want a crowning. Like they're looking for one. They're looking.
Oh,
I ain't fucking looking for one. Just come to me for that because I'll let you know.
What about Rama?
No.
I was joking. What about all those guys in TKO that they keep raving about? The Laramie brothers, the
is that, yeah,
there's like a tag. It's like tag team wrestling.
The Laramie boys. That's the next ones.
The dude's one. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I like Jeremy Kennedy, man. He's a solid fighter. I just think in this fight that even though they're same weight, I just think Volkanovski's gonna be the bigger guy here. I think this is gonna be Big Brother all over it. I can see him getting takedowns here and controlling this fight on the mat for as long as he wants. So, I like Volkanovski here. The line's a little steep though, even at minus 220. Jeremy Kennedy's not some trash can or anything. So, that's a little bit high to me. The opener is a little bit closer to what I thought it should be. So, I'll probably stay away from this. If I touch anything, I might play the over in a small parlay. I think this goes to a decision either which way, whoever wins it. This is probably going to be a really, really boring fight, but pick is Volkanovski by decision.
New Sean.
Side note on old Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. I'm pretty sure he has a tattoo that it's on his like ribs, and it's like notches, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 strikes through it. And I'm pretty sure he has 7 of them, and I would not be surprised if he got one for each of his wins, and that's when the picture was taken, and that's fucking awful. Like, he's marking wins on his body. There's some bad tattoos out there. That's up there.
It's not a dick on his chest. So.
That's true. It's not Cock Lesnar.
Who had one in last week's fight card? I saw somebody had I forgot who it was. It's MMA.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Or you could have got a cock tattooed on your face, like people were claiming today, which I found pretty fucking hilarious.
It's a snake. It's a snake, obviously.
It's a fucking snake, guys. If your cock looks like that, you need to go to a doctor.
That's true. As for this fight, I agree with Wes. This is gonna be a boring fight. I played Goes the Distance at minus 182. These guys have been to a shit ton of decisions. I'll pick old Junior Bacon Cheeseburger because I think it's a really close fight, but I'm not betting them.
Yeah, I got Volkanovski a C, Jeremy Kennedy a C minus. It's you're right. It probably should go decision because Kennedy's a decision machine. And the only reason I rate Volkanovski higher overall is because I think his offensive skill set and his power is way more than what Kennedy has to offer. Kennedy's not really a guy who hurts dudes. He's a grinder. He's actually a very good grinder. And if he can slow down Volkanovski, I think he could definitely win this bout. I think this is kind of one of those bouts where there's more hype behind Volkanovski for sure, but Kennedy's the type of guy who could slow him down, and then later in the bout he might even be able to outwork him. So I think this is kind of one of those tout master. You have to play the underdog plays because the price is just too good not to. In a bout that probably should be something like minus 135 plus 115. I mean, hypothetically, it probably should be somewhere in that range. And it's going to come down to the judges, and we know how they can be. So, not sure how you can play, over 2-1 odds on a guy who's very likely going to be in a grindy type of decision, where there's not going to be a lot of meaningful strikes. A couple more fights on the undercard. We got the dude Rob Wilkinson taking on UFC debutant and another guy coming over from Glory, Israel Adesanya.
The Style Bender.
Style Bender, which might be the best nickname currently in MMA. I'm willing to hear other ones, but like Beast in 25-8.
That's elite. That's an elite fucking nickname right there.
Style Bender is definitely, Style Bender is definitely right up there, currently top 5, without even thinking too hard about it. Anyway, Wes, you're up.
Yeah. If you've never seen the Style Bender, man, just go check out some of his highlight videos. He is just, he's insane, man. Compose has tweeted out a couple the past couple of days that you'll just, your jaw will drop. But I think the UFC is setting him up perfect here. They're giving him a trash can Australian that's going to stand up and bang with him, and I think he's going to knock Rob Wilkinson out. I threw him in a small parlay at minus 300, and I will be looking at him by KO or inside the distance as well.
Nusha.
Speaking of Capoza, I gotta agree with him. The UFC's done a just absolute shit job at promoting this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is one of the funnest fighters in combat right now. His highlight reel is insane. He's just in absolute fun fights, and basically nobody knows that he's fighting. It's bad.
One Facebook mention or something like that all week.
He's not a Rico Verhoeven.
No, but I mean
he's a pretty acclaimed kickboxer.
He's a more exciting kickboxer than Rico ever thought about being. Like the shit he does in the ring will make your jaw drop. I mean, Rico knocks guys out, which is all well and good, but this dude, like the head kick knocking, just crazy shit. He's amazing.
It's just frustrating.
He's technically very gifted. Yeah.
It's just frustrating when you got a guy that's absolutely has unreal striking, like very, very good quality striking, and is in really fun fights, and they don't really promote it, you know? Like, I mean, this is what they want. They want a stand-up war and fun fights and knockouts, and that's what this guy brings, and nobody fucking knows who the fuck he is. Now, I mean, there's there's a history here of strikers from like non-MMA or just hyped up strikers coming into the UFC and getting grounded out and beat.
Muslim Alikov or whatever his name was.
Salikov, is that what it was?
Yeah, Muslim Salikov, right?
Yeah. So
against Alex Garcia,
yeah. So I mean that definitely could happen. That's kind of why I'm staying away from him in his first fight. I mean, I don't think Rob Wilkinson's good, but he could maybe get him down and do something to him. But I just hope the Style Bender comes in and absolutely lights up Rob Wilkinson, and then maybe the UFC will do some work in pushing this guy. I mean, he doesn't have to be the next title contender, but he could be a guy that you fucking gotta watch, you know?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I got Wilkinson a D, Adesanya C-. Adesanya is like really has awesome size for the weight class too. I think he's 6'4" with an 80-inch reach, and he's only 28 years old. So it's not like a guy who's like 36 coming over like a Crow Cop or something. Like, I mean, Crow Cop wasn't that old, but coming over from kickboxing and making his way over to MMA. He's also fought in MMA now. How many fights he got in MMA? He's got 5 UFC fights. 11 MMA fights.
Yeah.
11 MMA bouts. Sorry, I was looking at his boxing record.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's already been fighting in MMA since 2012. So, there's obviously a decent amount of experience there. Physically, he's really gifted. He's an A-level striker. Obviously, no jokes there. The ground game is still obviously an unknown. So, if at some point in his career, he's going to be tested. Wilkinson, I think, has six subs in his career. Yep. 6 of his 11 wins have been by sub. Could he potentially be on the ground and get subbed? I mean, it wouldn't be a complete shock to me if it happens.
It's hard to bet these kind of guys because they're really, they're specialists. But we're used to grappling specialists, but there are striking specialists. This is one of them. I just think his physical gifts are enough to get him through this test and to move on to bigger tests. But we'll see. I mean, at some point in his career, why can't he do what Thiago Santos is kind of doing in this middleweight division? I mean, from a striking standpoint, he's more gifted than Thiago Santos. Why can't he do those kind of stuff?
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
A lot of these higher level kickboxers like this now too are at these gyms where they're doing a little MMA too. They're learning how to stop takedown and shit. You can even just look at Saki's debut, last year. That was a guy that nobody even talked about doing any kind of grappling and shit, but he knows enough to keep it up on the feet. And like you said, this dude's 28. He's got a decade of exciting fights. So yeah.
Yeah, like a guy like Saki, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach, fighting at light heavyweight. 30 was already 33, 34, or I think 34 years old. A little different. Obviously, really highly decorated kickboxer.
This guy's better.
This guy's better suited for MMA. I'll say that. I think that's fair. Anyway, exciting debut. Looking forward to it. Headliner of the prelim card and my pick for Friday the night. Damian Brown and Little Dong, Young Kim. Wes, is this fight going to be as good as I think it's going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. If they had the props up, I'd definitely sprinkle Fight of the Night on this one. This should be insane. I'm kind of back and forth about who I think's going to win. I think somebody's going to get knocked out. I think it's probably going to be Brown. I'm not positive, but I sprinkled just a little bit of fight. Fight doesn't go to decision. I believe that's still at plus money. I believe minus or plus 120, something like that. But yeah, I don't see this fight going to distance. Somebody's going to get knocked out. Probably Damian Brown.
I'm looking at Saki's piece. That's pretty good.
I like the moan before that.
Yeah, nice looking broad. Sorry. Anyway, Nushan, give me your thoughts on that.
I don't know how much technique is going to be involved in this fight, but
cares about technique.
Yeah, like we were talking about before the podcast. If the prop was out for Fight of the Nights, which they never are, they usually don't come out until the day of or the day before. This would probably be worth a sprinkle. These guys have been in a bunch of just wars, and it's probably going to be the same thing. Little defense, all offense, little technique, but lots of punches to the face. So you gotta like that right before the pay-per-view. Not sure who's going to win. I don't think too highly of either of these guys. But I'll pick Damian Brown because he's fighting in his hometown.
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting. I got Kim a D, Damian Brown a D minus. I think these guys are going to come out right away and going to be like throwing for the
fences.
Throwing for the fences. Literally, it's going to be a slugfest from the start. My only concern here is that Kim wears himself out. And then maybe Brown kind of takes over late, and maybe he can sneak out a win that way. Otherwise, I think Kim has the advantage because he's physically bigger. I think he throws harder as well. Fight being in Australia probably plays a little bit of a factor. So even though I rate Kim higher or a little, just one level above, I think this fight is pretty much a pick'em. I would stay away from it from betting, other than. If a Fight of the Night prop does become available, sprinkle here because these guys are going to throw right away. Other fights on this card could end really early. Not going to get a chance for Fight of the Night, and then there's definitely some decision type bouts on this card. So this one's kind of the obvious choice, from my eyes of being, kind of the action packed, exciting fight. Moving up to the main card, here we go. Exciting stuff. light heavyweight.
You tried, Jay.
Saparbek Safarov. Is he Dagestani?
Close enough.
Dagestan. Yep, he is.
Yes, he is.
But he's a shitty Dagestan, not like
Yeah.
It's a problem against one guy who's been getting a lot of hype, and I'm not sure it's that warranted. Tyson Pedro. We'll start with Wes.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Tyson Pedro fan, but man, the Sean's right. This is a bad Dagestani here. It's hard to find you one of those nowadays, but yeah, I don't think much of this dude. Pedro should win this fight, but there's no goddamn way you can be laying 3-1 on Tyson Pedro. Period.
Yeah, it's dangerous. New Sean.
So Safarov is getting a pay-per-view slot after losing to Don Volante by
That was
TKO,
entertaining. It was entertaining.
and getting a fight in the UFC by beating Rodney Wallace.
The basketball player?
Yeah, something like that. What's his nickname? It's Shonuff the Master.
Showing up.
Shonuff the
That's
Master.
not
Rodney
a real
Wallace.
name.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Pedro should beat him. Pedro's got some alright skills. Seems like he can take a punch, so he should probably win, but not a chance. I would lay minus 290 on him, even though Safarov is garbage.
So nobody wants to play Pedro by sub.
What? That's not even out. Come on, Jay. Facts
We're making
only.
up
Facts
lines
only.
there. No one's looking at it. Okay, fine. Don't play it. I got Pedro a D+, Safarov a D. What we saw from Safarov his usual debut was that he could take a lot of punches and he likes to stand. Not so good against Pedro, who's way younger, way more agile, and he's going to be looking to get the fight to the ground anyway. And on the ground, Pedro is actually pretty decent for this weight class. So I think this fight sets up well for Pedro. Even, I think his chin's good enough to survive on the feet, and then on the ground, he's got a big time advantage, and probably gets a sub here in this bout. So I'll be looking at Pedro by sub. Since New Sean tells me it's not out yet, I can't give you a line. But if there was a line, I would certainly be in my system right now making a bet. Let's leave it at that. Anyway, 4 fights left on the card. We got old man Beaver taking on China Goat. He's back, baby. China Goat. The China Goat. Yes. I'm excited about this one. Wes, are you?
Yeah, I'm just looking at this picture of Lance right now, though, man. This dude looks like he drives a white cargo van with no fucking windows in it.
I thought he was an extra on Super Troopers.
Yeah, it's pretty good shit. Yeah, man, I think I'm gonna be going down with this Jake Matthews shit, man.
You love the Biebs, I understand, Wes. You just can't have it. You gotta have it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's still so young, man, and I think he's got some skills. This is his second fight moving up to 170, so I'm hoping he's put on some bulk and stuff. I kind of want to see him on the scales and stuff kind of in person, but I grabbed a little bit of the plus 175 here. I think that's just a little bit off. I love Jangalang, man. Dude's awesome to watch fight. I just think if Matthews can stay tight in this and survive a round or so, not turn this into a brawl. We know Jangalang's going to want to brawl. If he can just be kind of smart, man, I think he can win a decision here. I don't know. I'm probably going to go down with this shit. He's probably going to just end up being a trash-ass fighter. But, man, still 23 years old. The weight cuts were hitting him hard. If he put on a little bit of bulk here, he's still got to be improving. just don't like that these guys this age, man, that make it up to the big show won't get the fuck out of Dodge and go train at a real gym. That's just always worrying to me. And he just won't do it. So I sprinkled on that plus 175. Jake Matthews by decision, but Jangling will probably fuck him up.
New Sean.
Wes, I'm pretty sure it was you on Twitter. I don't know if it was the last Jake Matthews fight where he won, or it might have been the Andrew Holbrook fight. But right after, you're just like, this guy is not going to be anything until he leaves from getting coached by his dad, and he's going to be terrible. And now you bet him again, and you know what's going to happen.
He's still being coached by his fucking dad.
You know it. He's still being coached by his dad, and Lil Jangalang is gonna knock this dude out, and you're gonna be saying the exact same thing after this fight, and it's gonna be glorious.
I will be fucking done.
Yeah,
watch.
I mean, that's pretty sure that's what you said last time, but I know you're a sucker for a dog price, so I can't blame you. But yeah, I bet Jangalang. I took him at minus 180. He's come down a bit. I'll probably add some more now that he's like in the minus 155, 160 range. I think Jangalang keeps getting better. He does well in firefights, and I think he's going to turn this into one, and Jake Matthews is going to go down.
Yeah, I got Matthews at D+, Jangalang trying to go C-. I think the grappling is, Matthews a little bit of an advantage there for sure, but he kind of struggles to kind of keep opponents down. His striking is not great. It's very stiff. Not a lot of movement, and he doesn't really use it very well. I think there's enough of this fight on the feet where China can take advantage of Jake Matthews, kind of hurt him, and then Matthews not going to be able to control the fight on the ground. Matthews got to survive 15 minutes to kind of get the win here, and I don't see him doing it. So I'm going to take Li Jangalang to win yet again in the UFC, and that would give him 5 consecutive wins in the UFC, and honestly, it's starting to get him close. Not there yet, but getting him close to fighting ranked fighters. So we're starting to make movement with China Go. Anyway, 3 fights left on the fight card. Heavyweight bout. The dude Cyril Asker taking on Polynesian Goat, or soon to be Polynesian Goat, Tai Tuivasa.
Let's not get crazy.
Well, he might become the best Polynesian fighter. I'm not going there.
No.
I don't want to go there. He might be getting better than his boy Mark Hunt soon. Watch out. Anyway,
it might take a little while.
Mark Hunt's pretty old, dude.
Mark Hunt's a fucking K1 champion and shit. So
he's also 43 years old, turning 44 in a month.
Yeah, he's on his way out. That flying knee from Otai last fight was a thing of beauty. That was awesome.
Pretty good, man.
A few things make me jump up off my couch. That was one of them. That was really good. I think he's gonna knock out Fat Sean Curry here. I think so.
Guys, I think we have to give a shout out.
It's Baby Dick
here. No, I mean another shout out.
Fat Baby Dick
to another podcast, something called the Halfcast Podcast, that Tai Tuivasa hosts with Tyson Pedro. Apparently, Tuivasa is married to Tyson Pedro's sister.
Yep,
this is real life, baby. I kind of want to listen to the podcast. We might have to get them on here. Do a little podcast share.
A little swapcast.
A little cross pollination swapcast. Yeah.
Tell him to bring the sister. We'll do a cut cast. How about that?
I'll look up a picture in the meantime.
It's like, I don't know about that.
Think Tyson Pedro's sister comes up on the good old Google search? Oh, wait. Oh, I'm looking.
A random MMA fighter from Australia's sister. That's gonna be a tough ask. You might be better just searching through Tai Tuivasa's Instagram. That might be a little easier.
I ain't doing that.
Seems like a lot of work.
Not to Jay. No, that's like a Friday night.
All right, who's up next?
Did you break it down yet, Wes?
Yeah. Fat baby dick's gonna get knocked out.
Fat baby dick.
It's all needs to be said.
That's true. That's. There's not much more to be said. I mean, Tuivasa seems like he has some skill. I mean, obviously he's green, like what I saw last time out. But minus 300 on a fairly unknown heavyweight. It's a little steep. But yes, I hope he knocks out Fat Baby Dick.
He will.
Fat French Baby Dick, sorry.
I got Tuivasa D, Asker D minus. I think Tuivasa is going to be a bit better than that ranking as time goes on. But as Nushan kind of pointed out, rather untested. You got to be a little bit weary. Asker's not good, but he does have some semblance of skill. It's just that he's undersized for this division, and has no punching power. So that's definitely makes one nervous. But Tuivasa, a really good athlete. Just experience is really the only thing that doesn't have him at least a C minus at this point in my eyes. So I'll take Tuivasa here. I think he's going to get. Another finish. I think he's just going to kind of run circles about Asker, and get the W, probably first round. Co-main event. I think a fight some of these guys want to talk about. 43-year-old Mark Hunt taking on the dude Curtis Blades. West. Tan tattoos?
Yeah, the one main thing that just gives me a little pause in this fight is just it being in Australia. That's about it. I think Blade should absolutely get a win in this fight. If he doesn't get caught, that's the whole fine line here. But Hunt's, man, he's 43, dude. He's got 1,000,000 miles on that chubby ass body. I just think Blades is the younger, fresher guy here. Like I said, if he just doesn't get caught with a bomb, I think he should be fine. Hopefully he gets this kind of against the cage, maybe get some takedowns. Hunt can be taken down. Hunt can be laid on top of and grounded and pounded. So that's what I'm hoping Blades does here. I grabbed some of the opener on Blades at minus 120. I really liked him at that price. Also, I didn't catch the opener on the Fatty's gonna fatty here, but I absolutely think Fatties are gonna fatty here. So I grabbed that at minus 140 as well. Like both of those bets quite a bit. Those are probably two of my more confident bets on the entire card is Blades and like the over.
New Sean.
I really like Blades here. This matchup just screams Lesnar Hunt all over again, except Blades takes a better punch and he's got better cardio than Lesnar. The raw power might be, he doesn't have the raw power that Lesnar does, but I think he's going to be able to grind on Hunt, get him down and do some work. Hunt with his health issues, getting pulled from last time when he was supposed to fight and all the other bullshit. I just don't think he's up to the challenge. He definitely could land a shot. I mean, he is an elite striker, but I just don't see it happening. Blades has been able to take, Ngannou's punch. I think it's just gonna be a decision. Maybe it might not be a decision. I think Blades actually might even get him a little later on in the fight. It should go over fairly easy, as long as Blades doesn't get clipped. But I put 2 units on this at minus 150 and minus 157, and it's never a bad thing when the ROI king is on the same side as you.
Just make sure you always show that unit size, ROI king.
I know.
Well, if you're Tito Ortiz, it's always, 5-star.
It's always a happy day to
whip it out.
That's the true ROI king. Tito Ortiz.
Yeah, he is the ROI king for sure. I got both these guys B-. I did do an article for MMA Oddsbreaker on this bout. I don't think it's come out yet. Look for that on Friday when you're listening. But despite the grades on both these guys, I think the clear advantages in this bout are for Blades. While he doesn't have the pure knockout power, the striking ability that Hunt has, he's got really good size for his weight class, 82-inch reach. And then it comes down to wrestling. He averages like 6.5 takedowns over his first 5 UFC bouts per 15 minutes. I mean, it's hard to see Mark Hunt being able to stop takedowns in this bout with any sort of consistency. I don't know if he can stop two. He might be able to stop one takedown at different points, but I can't even see him stopping 2 or 3 takedowns in a row here. I just don't see it. He doesn't have the mobility. He doesn't have the grace that he once had. And Blades is going to take him down at will. And once he's on top, I don't see Hunt getting up for the remainder of the first round. Brock Lesnar wrote the formula on how to beat Mark Hunt, and Blades is going to follow it. And he's going to get the W. Very likely by decision because Curtis Blades is not a finisher. And with that, we have a consensus bet. Curtis Blades, money line. Nushan, what is the current price of that?
It is minus 165.
So our bet consensus MMA analysis consensus bet of the week is Curtis Blades money line minus 165. As we last week our bet was canceled. We've had a couple of those this year as we look to extend our unbeaten run into February. Curtis Blades.
Jay decided to curse it last week, so it was canceled. But we'll see this week.
Hey, we didn't lose. It's unbeaten. Okay?
That's right.
Anyway, main event time. Middleweight interim title. I feel like every pay-per-view now has an interim title fight on it. But this is one I want to see. And one, I'm glad we're going to have a chance to see before eventually Romero hangs them up. So it's Luke Rockhold, Demi Lovato's Violator, taking on
cucked by some random Bellator prelim fighter.
I don't know if that's the case. He gave that shit up, man. Don't be.
He was a dude on one. She switched Luke Rockhold for a dude on a Brazilian tough show. Think about that.
That's what you guys think. Taking on Yolo Romero.
Yolo the God.
Yolo.
Yeah, Jesus.
Michael.
I love you, Mike.
Oh man. I laugh so many times I hear Rogan's impersonation of Romero. It's one of the.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard a lot of impersonations in my time. I mean, Dana Carvey, like the GOAT impersonator. But for me, this Joe Rogan Romero impersonations might be top 10 all time of any person that's ever imitated anybody. I think I've cried hearing it. Anyway, Wes, what do you think here? Rockhold or Romero? Who's taking home the strap?
Man. It's close because I can argue against myself for both guys, really. Fucking love Yolo, man. One of my favorite fighters in the sport. I'll say it again, and before every time he fights, I wish we could have got this dude 15 years ago, in his prime, because he's probably pushing 45, 50, Cuban birth certificate and all. But yeah, man, that last fight out, man, I really thought Yoel was finally going to get him a title, man. He had old Bobby Knuckles fucking dead to rights, man, hobbling around all over the place. I really thought he was going to get it done. Was I don't know, not shocked, but a little surprised to see he just kind of slowed down way too much, man. All that frame that he carries around, it's going to happen. Yeah, this is a close one to me, man. I know we're all going to probably say about the same thing about Rockhold. If Rockhold gets us to the mat and gets mounted, it's over, which is pretty obvious. I mean, the dude's top game and ground and pound is maybe some of the best we've ever seen in MMA. But man, if Yolo can keep this up, man, and that chin just scares me, Rockhold, man. I don't think he's got much of one, man. We've seen it over and over. And if Yolo gets a hold of that chin a couple times, like he did on Bobby Knuckles, I think he can knock Rockhold out here, man. Maybe not knock him out cold, but hurt him and finish up with some shit on the ground. So I don't know. To me, it kind of came down to a line. I didn't hit the opener when Rockhold was good plus money, and now Yolo is good plus money. So I'm gonna go with Yolo here.
Wow.
I can see Luke winning. Don't get me wrong. I can absolutely see that scenario here, but the chin of Luke worries me more than Yolo being on his back and mounted, if that makes any sense. Just a little that would scare me more than Yolo being pretty much taken down and mounted by Luke Rockhold. I think his MMA wrestling can hold up enough to keep this standing. Now, if Luke can circle and stay, tight and smart, almost Machida-like, and gets us into the fourth and fifth round, Yolo might be in trouble because, we saw last time out what happened when it got to the fourth and fifth round. So if this gets too much past the third round, I'll be absolutely worried to death. So, but yeah, Yolo for me. I'm gonna just a small sprinkle on the plus money, and I'll be looking around live to if this gets into the second, I'll probably looking at a hedge. If I can get some plus money on Rockhold at any point, I'll probably just try to hedge out and bank a little bit of money and enjoy the fight.
New Sean.
I think this is a pretty close fight. Like Wes said, both these guys have some question marks in a couple different aspects. Rockhold with that chin that we've seen recently. He also didn't look great against David Branch. Took him a while. I mean, he did TKO him in the second round, but I guess it was a little longer than what I and many others thought it should have taken. Yolo, I've bet him, I think, the last 7 fights, even including the Whitaker fight. He's a interesting fighter. He'll lose rounds, it doesn't really matter, and then he can just snatch something out of nowhere. I think Luke Rockhold is obviously the more well-rounded fighter. He's shown that he can go 5 rounds. Yolo looked pretty gassed in the 4th and 5th against Whitaker. I mean, that was a pretty somewhat grueling fight. So when I saw the opener on Luke Rockhold at plus 138, I kind of had to take it. I got him for 2 units. I think he can. Hopefully, he's shored up his striking defense. And, I mean, obviously he's going to respect the power of Romero whereas he didn't respect the power of Bisping whatsoever. And I'm just going to hope he doesn't get hit with some flying fucking whatever knee spin kick, whatever Yolo pulls out. And, hopefully he can, get him down and to work his top game. I won't be too sad if Yolo pulls something out. I love watching that dude. He just does shit that really nobody else does out of nowhere. And at such an old age, I just love seeing that guy fight. Maybe he loses and then we get the Bisping fight. I wouldn't be too sad if I saw that either. I just think that's a fight that should have happened, but we might not get to see it. But I will pick Rockhold, and like I said, I got 2 units on him at plus 138.
I would take Yolo losing this fight if they promise Bisping next.
There we go.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Main event time. I got both these guys in A. I've certainly been a fan of both of these guys on this podcast. Of sort of, definitely appreciate, respect their abilities in the cage. Romero definitely more of a short burst, really good early, fades late kind of a fighter. Rockhold, certainly susceptible to heavy punches. but and good enough striker, but really he does his best work on the ground. This is tricky because I like Romero's advantage, especially in the first round. I think that's his best opportunity to finish, is to kind of surprise Rockhold and get a quick finish. The longer this fight goes on, the more it plays into Rockhold's hands. And at any point in time where Rockhold ends up in top control, I think he could potentially win the bout, because I don't think Romero has any answers for Rockhold on the ground. Rockhold's really good, top game. Can not only hurt people from the top with strikes, but can also, certainly very capable of submissions. I think that's the most likely result here, is Rockhold survives early on, and then eventually gets top position, and Romero has no way out, and Rockhold's going to choke him unconscious. That's the way I look to bet this. I would look to Rockhold by submission. I wouldn't waste my time on any other Rockhold props. I think that's the way to go here for him to get the win.
Plus 302, Jay.
At plus 302. You know what, New Sean? I'm going to lock it in right now.
Hey, there we go.
Rockhold by submission, plus 302. Thank you, New Sean.
You're welcome.
And with that ends our episode of the MMA Analysis. I know that, Wes, you're going to next week's fight card in Texas. Nushan, are you going or no?
Sadly, I am not taking my ass down to Austin, Texas to see some random BJJ between some of these hooligans.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm loading up all my guns in the trunk, but I'm leaving my weed at home.
It's a good idea. There's
plenty
weed in Texas where you're going.
Plenty of weed, plenty of guns too. But
that's true.
Definitely more guns.
We are going to be around Austin though, so it's kind of like where I'm from. I live in Louisville, surrounded by a bunch of hicks everywhere.
And with guns.
Yeah, well, I mean, go out of the city limits, and you start hearing banjos playing shit. So.
Austin's the most liberal place in Texas.
Yeah, right there with like fucking Dallas and shit like that. So yeah, it's supposed to be a really cool college party town and shit. So should be a good time. Get to go down there and see brother Jason, the meat man provider, old ball coach, gonna come in for the weekend. So that should be fun.
And hopefully see Grandpa Trinaldo fucking knock the shit out of James.
He's dead. He's dead.
I got a bad feeling about it. I got to be honest with you.
Don't worry. Y'all remember I took care of things when old Matt Brown or when old Court McGee came. I'll take care of old James Vick.
Yeah, you're gonna toss a lady in there, and James Vick's coach is gonna run there and do what he does to her.
And
then
unconscious,
he's gonna get disqualified. Yep.
And unconscious, might even just throw him a drink, like, "Hey, dude, that's got a roofing in it. There you go. Take care of business."
Should be a decent card.
Our boy Dougie's gonna be there too, so shit could get interesting.
Tell him to jump on the podcast one week. He's being missed. We need his jiu-jitsu prowess.
We do. We really do.
Yep.
With that, good luck with your fight bets in Australia, and we'll probably be back next week. Pending schedules and Wes's however the hell Wes plans to get to Texas. I hope he's taking an airplane this time.
Of course not.
Oh no! Oh no!
My wife's
that's a story worth next week. So anyway, enjoy the fights and have a good one.